Hi boys and girls, welcome back to History Lane. Here we meet some of our history's heroes through using our creative hands. Today we meet Korach, a character who is usually seen in a negative light. But today we are going to learn something positive from him about the good intentions he had. We'll be making a Kohen Gadol themed Tic-Tac-Toe game. What's the connection to Korach, you may ask? We'll talk about that soon. Here are the supplies we will need. Blue, white, red, and gold paint, 1 large paintbrush, 2 smaller paintbrushes, a black Sharpie, a half teaspoon, a toothpick, an 8x10 canvas, liquid glue, 5 ounces of clay, a piece of parchment paper, the printed template, clear tape, 3 cups, 4 silver gems, scissors, disposable gloves, a Ziploc bag, and not pictured here, a ruler. Let's begin. Lay your canvas on a piece of parchment paper. Next, mix blue and white paint in a paint cup. Then paint the entire canvas light blue with a large paintbrush. Korach was born during the Egyptian exile. There is uncertainty about his exact birth year, but according to some, he was born in 2380 or 1381 BCE on the secular calendar. He died in the year 2450 or 1311 BCE, 2 years into the Jewish people's travels in the desert. While the canvas is drying, roll out 9 small balls of clay that each fit neatly into a half teaspoon. Roll each ball in the palm of your hands until there are no cracks in the clay. Flatten each ball by pressing down in the center and then gently pressing down around the edges. Each one should be about the size of a quarter. So who is this Korach? He was the great-grandson of Levi and Moshe and Aaron's first cousin. Once the canvas is dry, lay a ruler across the width of the bottom edge of the canvas and use a Sharpie to mark 2.5 inches from one edge and 2.5 inches from the first mark. Lay the ruler across the canvas lengthwise and trace a straight line from each of the spots that you marked. Make sure to leave 1 inch on the top and 1 inch on the bottom empty. Next, place the ruler across the edge of the length of the canvas and mark 3.5 inches, then mark another 3.5 inches from the first mark. Use the ruler to trace 2 straight lines across the width of the canvas on the 2 spots you marked, leaving 1/2 inch of blue space on both the right and left sides. Glue a gem on each of the corners where the lines intersect. Next, paint 4 of the clay pieces entirely red, both front and back. Unfortunately, Korach incited a rebellion against Moshe and Aaron over their positions of leadership and convinced hundreds of people to join him. Paint the remaining 5 pieces with gold paint. You may need to paint one side, allow the piece to dry, and then flip over to paint the other side. Let the pieces dry completely. In the meantime, cut out the bell and pomegranate shapes from the template. Korach was in error, and as a result, Hashem, God, caused the earth to miraculously open up and swallow him alive, along with a number of those who followed him, including Dasan and Aviram and their families. Although Korach made a mistake in his actions, his desire and intentions were pure. He and his followers deeply wanted to be Kohanim Gadolim, high priests. Once the pieces are dry, use a black Sharpie to trace a pomegranate on each red piece and a bell on each gold piece. If it is difficult to pick up the template from the clay piece once you've traced it, use a toothpick to lift it. Color in each pomegranate outline so that it is entirely black. Korach and his followers were so consumed by their desire to be close to Hashem that they were even ready to risk their lives by bringing Ketoras incense into the Kodesh HaKodashim, the Holy of Holies. If Ketoras was brought into the chamber by a non-Kohen Gadol, it resulted in death. Despite Korach's mistake, there is a parsha, a Torah portion, named after him because of the positive lesson we can take from him. It is praiseworthy to want to connect to Hashem and be as close to him as a Kohen Gadol. In fact, that is exactly what will happen when Mashiach comes. Every Jew will be on the level of a Kohen Gadol. After outlining each bell, look at the template to copy the lines and shapes that are inside the bell. One way to cultivate this desire already now is to realize that all pleasure and goodness are Hashem. Cut out the Kohen Gadol Tic-Tac-Toe label. We'll leave you with a question to consider. What makes you feel close to Hashem? Tape the label securely onto a Ziploc bag, then store the game pieces inside. Do you know what makes this game Kohen Gadol themed? I'll give you a clue. The Kohen Gadol had a garment called the Me'il, which was made of tchelas, a light blue fabric. The bottom of the garment was lined with bells and fabric pomegranates. Can you figure out how these are reflected in our Tic-Tac-Toe game? I bet you can! If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope to see you back again next week.